This is a great question to ask. What NAICS codes? So the NAICS codes help you figure out if you qualify as a small business. I do advise you to take your time and take a look at the NAICS codes. Take a look at what you're planning to do in the future. What are you currently doing? Who you're planning to partner with? You can use those NAICS codes. So one of the things about the NAICS codes that I talk about here is you can choose one, you can choose the wrong NAICS codes. You do not want to choose the wrong NAICS codes. So if you're choosing a NAICS code, so one example is that if you're choosing a NAICS code that has that the most that you can make within a year, if you don't go over that, is $30 million. Okay. So within that $30 million, they do look at the average. You're looking at the average between 3 to 5 years. Okay. So you could, again, make, and if you saw my quick snippet, you can make $30 million in 1 year. And then they'll do the average over the last 3 to 5 years. So, you do the math, so they divide it by 3. That's just an average of $10 million. And then it's spread out more, within 5 years. Now, if for some reason for the next few years, if you continue to get $30 million within contracts, right, what you need to do from there is you need to know what are other NAICS codes that are out there that is very similar to the work that you are doing. Because if you don't do that, that will boot you out of the program. And so you are no longer considered as a DBE, which is a disadvantaged business enterprise. Now you're considered as a prime. But if you're only making $30 million a year, guess what? And someone else is making $300 million a year, you are competing with that company. So be very cognizant of your NAICS codes. Depending on what state you're in, you can update your primary NAICS code. So you have several NAICS codes. I always encourage you to have at least 3 NAICS codes. And then from there, you can have as many as you want, depending on what the state needs. They may not accept all of your NAICS codes. So please be aware of that you're like, well, I put down 10 NAICS codes, Michelle, but when I went into the program, they only accepted 3. That's what they decided to do. So that's why I always encourage people to do by the minimum 3 to 5 NAICS codes. Okay. So places to go ahead and look up the NAICS codes. There is NAICS.com that you can look up, NAICS.org. You can look up NAICS codes on Google. You can look up your NAICS codes on the census, census.gov. This is really important because guess what? Your NAICS codes, they can expire. So you do have to stay on top of this. I do have a listing to show the most common NAICS codes used for this year and for next year. So the government, they do have that information out. The most popular ones, the most popular 51 that's out there that you want to use. And of course, if it falls underneath what you do, then those are the ones that you choose. Now, there's some other NAICS codes that are out there that are risky. But the thing is that if you realize that this is what your organization does, don't shy back from that, okay? So if you sell alcohol, if you sell tobacco, if you part of some type of gambling, again, that doesn't negate that you won't get that type of certification, but they will take a look at your information to go ahead and see like, okay, how does this apply to our program? Because if it doesn't apply to the program, then they may say, okay, this doesn't apply to our program, but maybe you should consider X, Y, and Z. Also, if you're in the financial services, that's another high risk one that the government looks at because a lot of people, they claim about certain type of money that they can get into your business. So the government is very, very leery about that. So you have to be on point about what you are offering. Again, if you have a program in place, then with that program in place, they would want to go ahead and take a look at that program and they take a look at that program and they're like, oh, this program is going to help the community. As long as the program is helping the community, the program is helping small businesses, the program is helping construction workers, transportation. Again, all of this is looked at before you get this certification. So these certifications are huge. Why do I know about these certifications? How do I know about these certifications? I am minority certified within over 40 states. So I can walk you through this. I can talk you through this. Also, and you guys may say, Michelle, why are you talking so much about these NAICS codes? With these NAICS codes, they can give you so much insight that they can also help you with market research. So when you have this market research, you can look at your competitors. You can see how much money that your market competitors have made under this particular NAICS code. So if you're feeling like, oh, I'm not sure if I can make money with this, anything you do, everything you do, the government needs you. A corporation needs you. So earlier today, I was on a prayer call. Some of you guys know that I follow Dr. Tiffany K. Jordan, and you may wonder, like, does she make money? She just said today that through consultation, okay, that some of her clients are paying her from 5 to 6 figures to get consultation from her. And if you notice that, if you ever watch the NFL, and I'm sure this is for the NBA, they actually have chaplains. They hire chaplains to pray over the teams. So even though this may not translate for the government, you could still use those skill sets and as in consultation. Okay, so you can still have that as consultation, as long as your business is not, as we call, like faith-based, but if it's leadership-based, but you have a faith-based piece in there, then you can still work with the government. So one of the other big questions that I get is that, Michelle, I am a non-profit. Can I apply for this program? You cannot. You cannot apply as DBE, ACDBE, MBE, or WBE as a nonprofit under the government. The government has other type of programs for you. So most definitely check out grants.gov for a lot of nonprofit opportunities. And if you're a nonprofit and you have a for-profit, then you can get certified under the for-profit and begin to do services for your nonprofit underneath there. So there's some ways that you can benefit as a nonprofit, as long as you have a for-profit, or as a nonprofit, you work with other